Hey Chris, hey Raz. Sorry, I'm just getting my act together at the moment. So that's the kit I'm starting to paint up. So I don't have all the pieces ready, but I have some of them ready. So see how far I get. This is actually for a friend of mine, so he's gonna be a little picky on this stuff. I should probably let him know I'm doing it. How's it going, Deadpool? Alright, so he wants a sort of realistic jean color, not like bright bluish. So usually with that I do like a gray blue. So I got to have some Payne's gray is good. Got some basic colors here. This might be good. No, it's got a little bit of a purplish in there. All right. So I'm just gonna keep mixing up a color till I get a nice base color first. Too much whitish color in there, so let's pour some of that out. This got too much purple in this color. Let's use... Yes, trying to get a nice, like, darker grayish blue. Yep. So that's a good base color. We're going to customize this in the Power Grill though, so you're not getting Jubilee when it's done. Alright, so to show you guys or anyone else who watches it, so if you grab a pair of jeans, right, so you can see that this is a little bit bluer, but this is kind of more of a grayish blue. So a lot of people, what I've seen is when they do jeans, they just do like a straight like blue out of a tube, you know, like a blue like this, you know. So you want to do like a grayish blue as a base and then start dry brushing, and you'll get that realistic jeans look kinda. This has a little of green tint into it, but so if you look at the pictures, they just colored them in blue, so that's kind of more that anime look, but we're gonna try to make these a little bit more realistic, and then the boots and gloves will be more of the, well, the boots will be more of a brighter blue. She's got yellow gloves, right? We're going off those pictures. For some odd reason, I thought you said they were blue gloves. I don't remember. I don't care for the character. But we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Hey Jacob, yeah, I decided to do a little today since I'm in the mood to paint, and I just had a gas company replace my parts in my boiler. So I can actually get back to work today. It's not my boiler, my hot water heater, Pilot Light Blue. Alright, so kind of take our black and our white, a little bit of our blue. So what I'm trying to do is mix up a little bit of a lighter gray before I go pure white. So instead of just doing like pure white dry brush and kind of, even though it looks lighter, it's not pure white going on it. I think these were just only unpainted kits. I don't think they were pre-paints. So my friends had this for a long time and finally came up in rotation to do it. But we already talked about it. He is an a-hole. We had a long conversation about that. I was going to paint this last night, but he decided he wanted to customize the right hand going to the hip, which he didn't tell me in the beginning. And I know he's in chat still, probably. Alright, so now we're going to go a little bit lighter. This is actually, I'm going to put up the kit review tomorrow. It's from Wolfpacks. They've done a bunch of other X-Men characters. I actually painted up their a Psylocke of their kit a while back, if you guys remember those videos. Yeah, Raz, it was not the end of the world. It's a friend of mine. Usually with commissions, we always hash out the details in the beginning. But he probably did it to me on purpose. At least this has a lot of good texture on it, so. Alright, so what I like to do is keep building up and dry brushing, building up and dry brushing. So this is a Transparency Payne's Gray from Garage Kits. So it's not pure black, it's got like a little bit of a blue in there. Now I'm going to paint the booty and stuff, even though it's going to be completely hidden from the jacket, but you can't leave it out. I mean, if you really wanted to, you wouldn't even need to really worry about this, because once it's in the jacket and stuff, you only see this area. But we'll paint it like normal. So basically shading up in the crotch area a little bit, kind of just hitting it up. Now what we can do, put that there. See how this works. This is a Freak Flex teal tint. So it's got a little bit of a blue in there. It's a little bit bluer now than just grayish blue. Hold on, I think somebody just dropped off a package. Okay. So, Mr. Adam, what do you think about the color so far? Do you like it? Or do you want it that cartoony blue? Okay, where is my... Use this one. So I'm going to use some of the Transparency Payne's Gray with a brush now. This way you don't overspray stuff. Vega Man, these X-Men kits were done by a Facebook group called the Wolfpacks. So I didn't get it. My friend got it, and he gave it to me to paint. So there's a lot of Facebook groups out there that do this type of stuff. I just don't know the groups. Now I'm going to do slightly lighter here because when you roll up your jeans, the insider is usually a little bit lighter. So, I won't go too crazy with it. Her belt is black, right? Yeah. Guess we could do like a leather belt. Alright, let's give it a coat of Tester's Dull Coat. Alright, so, hopefully you can see it in the light here. So that's kind of what it's probably a little bit darker in this setup, but it's kind of more realistic blue jeans than pure, like, blue. So if you get that grayish blue in there and you get that grayish Payne's gray, you know, you'll get more of a, sort of like a modern blue jean color. If you want to go with, like, the bright blue jeans that you see, like, you know, on some commercials, you can go lighter blue, but I think that always comes out a little bit weird on statues, so I kind of like to do this kind of color better, a little bit real. So the Tester's Dull Coat dries fairly fast. I'm going to give it a coat of varnish, so this way when I do the belt, at least I have something coating it. So I'm going to do matte varnish on it, so I'll probably have to do another coat of matte varnish later, but at least I get something on it for now. You don't want your jeans glowing, you want them to be flat. No, we are going brighter blue boots and gloves. The reason why is I talked to my friend. The jeans are not the same material as the boots and gloves, and I know this is kind of like, you know, from the cartoon comic book, but it's kind of better to break up your blues. If you have the same jean, you know, the jean shorts as the gloves and the boots, you kind of lose it. Like, if you look at the picture, to me, it looks weird. You know, you got these bright blue shorts and you got the bright blue gloves and stuff. So I think by breaking up your boots and your gloves, at least bring it together a little bit better. So that's just kind of my opinion. I mean, if you're, you know, if this is your sculpt and you want every color of blue to be the same, you can do it, but I think it defeats the purpose. So what I think I'm going to do is let it dry a bit, because there's a lot of fresh paint on there. And then I'm going to work on the boots and gloves now, and then I could come back and do the belt. I'm going to hand paint the belt. I'm going to make it look like a leather belt. So let's put this aside. We are following the color of the Jim Lee paint-ups. I mean the coloring, so the boots and gloves are always blue. That's what I was told. So whoever color rendered that picture, I don't know why they did the yellow gloves. So I guess for Jubilee there's a couple of different color schemes, I guess other artists have drawn and colored. I'm not really sure. Like some of them have different color glasses and stuff like that, so. So I'm thinking it's like straight out of the bottle, use this Caldor Sky, because this is a brighter blue. And I think this color would work good. So with some dark shading and some of this, we'll get a nice bluish boot without it being like potent sky blue in your face. See, I never, like if you follow the colors of the comic book and you follow the colors of the color render that the 3D artist did, you're just following what other people are doing, I guess. But for this one, we're trying to make it a little bit more toward the Jim Lee colors, but not so bright. But I mean, if my friend wants it and he says, hey, he wants those colors, we do it. I always do what the client wants, not what I want, unless I'm painting up my own item. So let's get this up a little bit higher. So we'll just get this color on as a base. So when I got this kit in, just to give you guys a heads up, when you get these kits from like Ownage over in China, when you pull them out of the box, they're like pretty much ready to go. Like I didn't see any issues, like with like any casting issues or anything. So they look pretty good. The only thing is that I wipe them down with 91% alcohol, which is this. So I put on a pair of rubber gloves and I take, I dump it in my hand with a paper towel and I wipe it down. Because I think even though Ownage does a really good job and they don't really prime the item, it's got a lot of like residue from people handling them. So you want to get all that finger oils off and all the other chemicals, maybe from the foam that it was shipped in. It's shipped from China, so you figure it's in a box from China going on a boat. You get a lot of moisture from the ocean, maybe seeping in. So you really want to wipe down your item. So whenever I wipe these down with 91% alcohol, the paper towel's got like this yellowish green color, and this stuff is actually like greenish castings. So it just gets a lot of that like residue off, and then when I hit it with the primer sticks really, really well. So always make sure you wipe down your kits. You'll know if your kit is not like wiped down enough. Like if you spray it and then after you're done, like say you put your fingernail here, like I'm just lightly putting my fingernail on there, and you could sort of see it's just rubbing it, but it's not scraping it off the resin. If you're scraping it off the resin with just your light fingernail, then you didn't wipe down your resin enough. But if you wipe down the resin and everything's good and your primer sticks like that, you're good to go. Even your anime kits you get from like other sites, always wipe them down and clean them. Now, Citadel paints out of the bottle are a little thick, so I just throw a little bit of water with my alcohol in there and just sort of thin it down. You don't have to thin it too much, but just enough. This stuff comes really thick out of the bottle, you can see it. But if you thin it down enough and you got enough air pressure in there, it stays on pretty well. Not for this kit. This kit, it's sort of so it was magnetized with the legs, magnetizing to the hip. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be attaching the hip to the legs to the boots, and it's going to be one solid piece from the waist down. The arms and the gloves are going to stay magnetized, and the torso that goes into the cloak, that's going to be attached. So it's going to be the torso is attached to the cloak, and the legs are attached to the hip, but everything else is going to stay magnetized. The reason why I'm doing the legs is if you leave them magnetized, she wobbles, and if you try to like pick her up and move her, or if you grab her by her leg the wrong way, all the pieces could come tumbling down on you. So for this one I'm gonna, but it's easier to paint them separate and attach them later than to try to attach them now. Sometimes I could get away with painting and building, sometimes I have to build it and then paint it and mask off. But this one I'm lucky enough where I can actually build and paint at the same time. So I'll put this against the jeans over on the other camera. So this is a brighter blue, but if I hit it with some shades and stuff, you'll see the difference between the gloves and the boots. So this is kind of more of that Jubilee color, almost. Unless my friend wants it lighter or baby blue. Trying to look at some of the pictures. These have a little bit, it's still shiny, so it looks a little bit bluer than it is. Let me blow dry it. So whenever you have wet paint, it's always lighter than what you're seeing. Once it starts drying, it dries darker. This goes for painting in your house, painting on a car, painting anywhere. The wetter it is, the lighter it looks because it's reflecting light. But with this Caldor Sky, it has a little hint of like pearl into it, so it gives it a little bit of a sheen in certain areas. As far as the belts on the glove, I guess they're gonna stay the same, unless Mr. Adam there wants it a different color. But for right now, I'm just getting the base color on it first. Yeah, so that's, if you guys ever see me say in my videos that I painted up for a client, and if you don't like the way it's painted or you don't like a color, it's not because of my decision. There's a lot of people who want specific things, but we brainstorm it out together. So I always try to give everybody what they want, not what everybody else wants. If you try to paint up for everybody else, then you'll never get anything done. Always focus on the client and what they want. No, this is a Citadel. Right out of the bottle, this is a good base color, Citadel paints. I really love Citadel paints. They really stay on pretty well. They go, once you thin them down enough with some water and stuff, they go on pretty well. And I just love the way they cover. But they are expensive. I don't use Tamiya much anymore because I really don't like the way they go spray out of the bottle. Like, even if you thin them down, they still kind of like speckle on you. They don't come out pretty smooth. Are we going to paint the soles on these a little bit of a darker blue? Or are you going to keep them bright blue all the way? me save this paint because it's expensive. Try to get as much back out of it. Yeah, Vallejo paint is good. I use Vallejo a lot as well. Of course, certain colors from every company suck. But other colors are amazing from companies. I mean, you can kind of see my setup. So I have a lot of Goldens, Garage Kits, Vallejos, Citadels, all kinds over there. This camera doesn't like to move like it used to. So before we handle these, yeah, I'll show you Golden. So, you have, if I don't drop everything, find a bottle of it if I can. Happen to, here we go. No, that's not it. Show you a couple things. Alright, so there's also a company called Formula P3. It's called Privateer. This is sort of like Citadel paints. They're fairly expensive, but I like these a lot. They come in, their natural colors are good. They also have a bunch of skin tone colors. And they also have washes. Hold on. So they have like a flesh wash, which is really good. I like using these colors. So they have it's a rind flesh, and then they have another flesh. But like out of the bottle, these flesh tones are really nice. So you just need to thin them down if you're going to go through the airbrush. But you can mix these with other acrylics like you know, like Vallejos, Citadels. Acrylics work well with each other, except you don't want to mix Tamayas with them. And then you have Liquitex soft body, which is basically, you know, just an acrylic paint that's softer. So you can buy a bottle of this and you can thin it down and spray through your airbrush. Just Liquitex is a little bit more for like, you could use it on statues, but a lot of people use these for like, you know, acrylic painting on canvas. So you could spray this on the statue, just give it like a few days to really cure. But once this stuff cures, it's pretty tough. It works pretty well. And then there's Golden, which is like Liquitex. So you can get fluid acrylic, which is a little bit softer. But you can even get Liquitex Basics and the Liquitex out of a tube. Now these are a little bit thicker, but you can still thin them down through an airbrush. So if you get yourself a mixing bottle, so say you want to save some money. So if you get a mixing bottle, like just an empty mixing bottle, you can squeeze this or this into the bottle, put some water in there, and you can get yourself a nice milky airbrush, and you can spray this through an airbrush. So, you know, if you really like this color blue, but you don't want to spend a crazy amount of money, you can get a huge bottle of it, and then you could just put it in an airbrush like this. Or you could even mix this stuff with other colors, acrylics. I do it all the time. So you don't have to use just airbrush paints for airbrush. You can use acrylics as long as you thin them down enough. I have a bottle here of water. So what I do is I have 70% alcohol. So I put like 10% alcohol in the bottle and the rest is water. And then I just use this to thin it down. Now, some people use retarders so that their paint doesn't cure as fast. But I just like to thin them down with some of this and I'm fine. The reason why I put a little alcohol in there is because alcohol will help your paint from creating mold. So for instance, one thing I learned in art school, say you take a bottle of I don't know if it happens anymore, but this used to happen back in like '95. So you take a bottle of this, right, and you squeeze this into a like a mixing bottle, and say you just put water in there to thin it. If you leave the bottle in there for a long amount of time, it creates mold. So I don't think that happens like it used to. I think it was like the old paints, but a little bit of alcohol in there just helped it from creating mold. But that was probably the old paints. This was something back in '95, but ever since I've been buying this stuff from like 2006 up, I've never seen that again. So it might have just been an old thing I'm just used to. But I mean, if there's anyone in chat or other YouTubers or stuff that might tell you like there's retarders that they use that they pour into the bottle, and then when they spray it, your paint stays tacky and wet for a while. I don't like that. I like everything drying as fast as possible. As long as it comes out of the airbrush and it's sticking to your item, that's all that counts. But if you're not thinning it down correctly and it's spraying globs and it's getting clogged in your airbrush, you got to thin it down. So you don't want it water, but you don't want it like thick. You got to get that middle of like milky sort of a look to it. Alright, so one of the things I've seen people do, which I try not to do for my stuff, if I can find my color. Where is it? Okay. So, one of the things about blue paint, if you really want to make a darker blue, don't mix black into it, mix browns. So I have a mahogany from Model Air, which is Vallejo paints. So I like to put a little bit of mahogany, which is kind of like a reddish brown, in with the blue, and then darken it up, and it gives it a shade without throwing black in there. So what we'll do is we'll put a little water in here, a little bit more of the blue. Don't need a lot. And then take some of my mahogany. Let me grab my brush to mix it. So I just have a little brush like this. I just mix it in my cup. So depending on how much of a blue you want, So it's a little bit of a darker blue without like just going to your black paint. So what I would do is I would mix the same color and do like the bottom. But right now I'm just throwing color on. We'll just keep blending now. So that's good enough, like of a shade of a blue without, you know, black paint all over it. Let's try to stay away from the blacks. What it is the black paint will muddy up your blue paint too much. Alright, I gotta kick on my AC, it's getting hot now. Yeah, stay away from the black paint for shading as much as you can, unless it's like it calls for it. But your browns, your reds, greens mixed in with a blue will give you a different shade. Now, I hate painting pieces like this because her hand is actually like that on her hip. So if you paint it like this and you're shading it in this direction, then when you put it on her body, it's not going to look right. So I guess always be careful of where the pieces are located on your item. So because we'll be looking up in this direction, kind of shade it underneath a little bit. And mind you, we're just still throwing color down. We're not like detailing it up just yet. I always like to just throw color down, get used to where things are hitting, get an idea of what it's looking like. Now this piece is up by her head in like this direction. So if you were to hold it in this direction and shade it, when you put it on her, it would look like the light is coming from underneath. So I like to kind of spray where it's positioned. So if she's up on her thing, you got shadows underneath this area. But we're still gonna mess with some more colors. Alright, so we got a basic color down. So since I mixed up this paint in my cup, I'm gonna put it in my shit bottle. Save it for later. So this paint bottle is all the paint that I use from cups. It fills in here, and I use this for like bases and rocks and dirt, so you don't waste your colors. Alright, so next step, grab our this camera, and it's starting to flicker. I think this camera's getting bad on me. Alright, so this is a Badger blue. This stuff is super potent blue and watery. Like, this stuff will stain the shit out of anything. It's a really potent blue. But it's not a bad blue to kind of spray on this item. So we're going to kick on the booth. Sort of really strong blue. It will really, like, if you mix it with like another color, it'll really take it to another level. Good stuff, but it stains. So you can see there's a lot of heavy shading, it's a lot darker, but we're going to take it all back down in a second. But let's get some more of this glue in here. So trying to open up that bottle of that Badger is a nightmare. So we'll just put some more, just drops in there. Why is it flickering? I'm not even hitting it. Hold on, I'm gonna unplug this for a second real quick. I don't know, something's flickering over here for some reason. What was that? Oh well. Alright, so let's hit it with some Testors Dull Coat. Just kind of, the Dull Coat sort of melts your paint, so be very careful with paint, this stuff. But sometimes it kind of helps the blending a little bit. But we're gonna just give it a coat. Got to turn that on, damn it. Alright, let's let that air out for a bit and let's work on the belt. No, it's just, it's the older camera and the wire. It's just, I probably dropped it one too many times. So, whatever. Sooner or later, I'll the camera that I'm using right here, I'll move that to the airbrush booth, and then I'll get another camera for this table. Sooner or later. Seems like these cameras don't really last all that long. Alright, so basically you could use this with a paintbrush, and then this is a leather belt from Panzer Aces, which is a little bit thicker. I love this color. When it comes out of the bottle. Yeah, so dead cool. Since if you're new to these bottles, if you shake them up and you try to squeeze them and they're not squeezing, don't sit there and like squeeze the shit out of it. What'll happen is this piece will pop out and all your paint will come out. Have yourself some kind of a needle or some kind of tool where you can pop like stop the dryness on there, and then you can squeeze it out. Because I do it all the time in the past where I think that it's ready to pop, squeeze out, and then this comes out and I lose the whole bottle. Sounds stupid, but when you lose a $4 bottle of paint, it sucks. Sorry for the noise of the AC, but it's that time of the day where things get hot as hell in here. And what we do is we take a little bit of this paint. So it's just not pure black, it's got a little brown in there. And then we'll do that all the way around there. Raz, why are you painting over carpet? You gotta get yourself a nice little throw rug or something, so... Alright, so I don't know if you can see it, but the belt's not pure black. It's got a little bit of that brownish in there. Yeah, once that's on that carpet, you ain't doing nothing with that. You can see they probably figured who sculpted this that you're not going to see the back, so the belt warps down and gets thinner and thinner, so you won't see this. So and that's not the end of the world. I mean, if you saw it, it'd be a different story. It probably is, Jacob. Lately, that Patreon I'm subbed to, he pumped out a few new tracks, so I downloaded them. But I haven't done it in a while, so this was in the last couple streams. You probably just didn't hear it. Like I said, if you guys ever know of any other patrons that do some royal-free music, send me links. So we got the jeans are looking pretty good so far. Now, what's her belt buckle? Is it gold, silver? Is it gold with a black X, or is it just gold period? Or is it like gold with a red X? I'm not going to do the belt buckle now anyway. I was just kind of curious. I want to let it cure up before I really mess with it. I'm just going to pretty much finish off the boots today, and that's it for today anyway. Gold, black X, okay, that works. So what I'll do is I'll paint it bright red, and we'll put a green X in there for you. Yeah, I have to be tame for you guys on YouTube. I'm not normally like this, actually. If I could beat myself on YouTube, I'd probably get kicked off right away. So... okay, so we're going to mist these down. So we go back to our original base color. But we're going to water it down a little bit more. So put a little bit of more water in there. Take some of our base color. Should be good enough. Now if you take a paintbrush and you mix inside your cup, be careful not to push it all the way down and scrape your metal. That's why I use the longer brush, because it gets down at the bottom without scraping your metal. Because if you scrape your metal, you scrape off the chrome, and then therefore your paint starts to stick. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick this on, and then we're going to spray down a little piece by piece. So So we got all our colors down there, then we misted it, so it's basically not pure shaded, but it's got some shade in those areas. But we're going to go back with a paintbrush and bring out all that little detail. But so it's not just like, okay, we sprayed that down and it's this, so you got sort of a blend going. You don't want to make the whole thing just one solid color and then one shade and then you're done. Try to blend it out as you can. Dead cool with the $4.99, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. I'm glad I could help you out. Hopefully it helped you with your future work. Alright, so real quick, sometimes the needle gets a little clogged. Pull that off. And kind of okay, so that's kind of toned down. And we got one more to go. So remember the position, this one's going like that. Brush is on the verge of the tip getting really clogged, but looking pretty good. So I didn't mix any color with this one, so I can actually salvage this and back into the cup. Alright, so before I handle it, I know some people use gloves. I don't like using gloves because I can't feel the item, and sometimes gloves leave a residue. So I always like to just keep washing my hands, so I'm going to wash my hands real quick. So let's bring this over without dropping it. I just use dial soap. This is acrylic paints. So acrylic paints really don't do much to you. The only thing that stains my fingers is that Badger blue, because it's like a really deep ink. But most acrylics don't really stick to you. Like, let's give you an example. I got paint all over me. Like right here, like there's some blue in here. Just some water in there, and your fingernail comes right off. You know, it's acrylic paint. It doesn't do anything. Now, if you work with enamels or lacquers, then you'll probably need like acetone or a nail polish remover. For cleaning your brushes, just some simple dial soap and some water, and it comes right out of the brush, no problem. If your brushes are caked up, then you need that the Winsor Newton Airbrush paintbrush cleaner, which is like an acetone type of paint stuff. All right. So we go back to our original color. We'll put a little bit in here's container. So one thing too I do, so I'm using blues right now. So I did the blue boots, I did the blue jeans. So I got blue on my fingers. Now if I was to paint up like a skin tone next, I would really wash my hands down pretty well, because this type of like residue on your finger might get stuck on like a lighter paint. But if I'm doing like a base, or if I'm doing like another dark color, it doesn't matter. But like I said, I know some people love to use gloves. I don't like gloves because I don't have that control. Plus I've seen gloves like leave sticky stuff on your Like, if you don't realize you got some paint on your glove and you're touching an item, and then you look at it, you realize, at least with my fingers, I can tell there's something there most of the time. It's all preference. Whatever works for you. So, like, I got all this paint on my fingers real quick, so I'll just wash it. I look at it this way: you do whatever makes you feel comfortable, and it gives you your final product. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just do what makes you happy and what gets you you need to get done. So I'm going to do a little dry brushing up top. But if you're like my friends that come over, I get to yell at them because they're not doing what I want them to do. I need to spray this area down a bit, but we'll do some brush work first. Alright, so since this little bit finer detail, grab our finer detail item. Grab this paint wheel here. There it is. Grab some Payne's Gray. Really no seam line here, but so it might look black, but it's just a blackish, grayish wash. So I'm just throwing it in between areas. So I gotta lighten up this foot real quick. Normally I do not spray over here, but I'm going to darken up that a little bit. So I could get away with doing a little Payne's gray. Alright, for her clasp on her gloves, we're not going to keep it blue, and we're not going to do a metallic blue. We'll do a dark steel. Just so it separates it a little bit, but not overdoes it. And let's see if we have some control to make this work. So I messed up a little tiny spot. So we still have our blue next to us. Going on with the blue. Clean it up. I think we'll do sometimes those pieces are metal and sometimes they're not. I don't know. Maybe we'll just leave them blue. Thicker blue. Yeah, just a little tiny of a highlight just makes them separate a little bit more than just leaving it all. And you don't need to do like a really heavy metallic either. Just a darker metallic separates it enough. You know, I think I've seen, you know, like trying to make it chrome. Even like copper would look fine, you know. but not done yet. So got a little bit of detail in there. So let's kind of just to make the belts around the wrists pop a little bit more. You can even go in with some shading gray, kind of texture a little bit. Alright, let's darken it up and then we'll lighten it up. Alright, so normally at this point, I would try to let it cure up a bit and then probably seal it tomorrow with a Duplicolor and then flatten it down, unless I feel that the paint is strong enough. But I want to do the soles of these, but since they're so big, I'm not going to be able to hand brush it. So I'm going to have to let it cure up for a bit, and then what I'll do is I'll do a trim on here, and then what I'll do is I'll mask it off with Silly Buddy and spray it. Unless, yeah, what I'll do is I'll do that and then I'll add a little texture to it, so I'll kind of break it up a little bit more at the soles. So it'll separate from the boots, but also will look like soles that have been like worn a little bit at the bottom, not like on the boot. And I think it should work out pretty well. But that's pretty much it for today. That's all I really wanted to work on. Give you guys an idea of where we're going with this. So I'll probably do some more of her on Patreon during the week. So maybe Monday or Tuesday I'll probably be on, not on Patreon, Picardo. I'll actually link it in the description now. Yeah, link it just in case you guys are around during the weekdays. Yeah, no problem. A little fun today. So yeah, I'll probably be on Picardo during the week again, trying to work on her. I gotta just clean up the back of these legs a little bit, and then I could start doing skin tones. The jacket's gonna probably be later, but I'm gonna keep plugging away on her. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate it, and have a good weekend.